Alright, hey everybody, and welcome to the 9th installment of this GIMP tutorial series. Last time we started a part 1 of a video talking about some of the more artistic features of GIMP, and today I plan on finishing that up. So right off the bat, first thing I want to go over is brush dynamics, because I missed that in the last one, and I really kind of want to go over it because it's a very useful thing to know about. So if we go over here in this corner, we're going to notice the dynamics thing. If I'm on the paintbrush right now, so this says the dynamics in the tool options bar here. And if we hit this button over here, the little arrow with the 3 dots, we get a whole bunch of different options here. Now I'm going to go over here to this side where it has a specific brush dynamics tab, so I can show you all of these at once. Okay, so the ones you're probably going to be using the most are pressure, size, and dynamics off. Now there are a whole bunch of these on here that you can use, but these are the 2 that I use the most, and I think that most people use the most. So dynamics off is pretty much, it's your brush without dynamics. So I have a round brush right here, and it's just pretty much plain old Microsoft Word, whatever, or not Microsoft Word, Microsoft Paint, whatever. It's just the round brush going around and doing its thing like you would expect it to. Pressure size, and just take note of this, this only works if you have a tablet, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Pressure size is when you're drawing with a tablet, and the more pressure you put down, the thicker the line is. And the less pressure you put down, the thinner the line is. So I'm drawing with the tablet right now, and that's why the pressure size works. Now, if you have a mouse, I really don't think there's any way to implement that. I would really suggest buying a tablet. I might be able to link like a few tablets down in the description. They're not, it doesn't take a super expensive tablet to get started on this, and having one is like going to up your art game like a lot, just even with an inexpensive tablet. Like the ability to draw with your hand is so big in this. So I might link a few tablets down in the description, including my own tablet. Okay, so those are 2 of the brush dynamics that you're probably going to use most often. You can notice the first one up here is basic dynamics. This is doing pressure size, but it's also doing something else called pressure opacity. Now when I press down really lightly here, notice that it doesn't look the same as when I press down hard. That's the pressure opacity coming in. It's also doing something else called speed size. So as I take the pen and go faster, the line is smaller. And as I go slower, the line is thicker. So pressure size is pretty much just an isolated dynamic from the basic dynamics. A couple of other ones that you might find useful. Now, okay, there it is. The color from gradient. You can see the color is lighter up here and it's darker down here as it goes into the gradient. That's one brush dynamic you can use. It'll probably be pretty useful for some of you. Confetti, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's fun though. I don't know when you would use it, but it looks fun. Let's see. Random dynamics, just a random dynamics. Fade tapering. Not really sure about this one. But you can play around with any of these dynamics, but like I said, most of the time you're going to be using either pressure size or dynamics off. Next thing I'm going to go over is layers. I have a whole video on layers. It's called Layers, Layers, and Layers. Very creative, witty title, I guess. But I just showed you guys how to use normal layers. And today I want to show you how to use a few different types of layers. Now, if I create a new layer here, like I showed you how to do in that other video, and I go over here and let's say I just draw a line, a very boring line. Actually, no, let's draw something a little bit more exciting. Let's draw some smoke. This is the brush that I downloaded in the last video. You can see where to download that brush and how to download the brush if you go back to the last video. A little self-advertising there, but not too much. Okay, so we drew some smoke over here. It looks pretty cool. But if I wanted to, this doesn't have to just be like a normal layer on top. If we go up here to Mode in the Layers tab, it says Normal. But if you look down here, we have so many different types of layers that we could be using here. So I'll show you one of my favorite ones here. This one's called Overlay. And as you can see, it just sort of overlays the layer. It takes the color from the background layer and it sort of saturates it in there. And then you can raise and lower the opacity, say you don't want it to be too much overlay, and you can just sort of lower that in. And as you see, we kind of get sort of a ruffled greeting card look almost here, just with like a spotted background, little mottled. Let's see. And you can just play with these in your own time because they will give you different effects just depending on what you want. Soft light, hard light, vivid light. You notice like some of these don't even look any different than normal. We have vivid light here, and that's pretty much exactly what it looked like before. You can use like one aspect of the layer, like the hue, and you can just put that on the other layer. As you can see, that didn't do too much, since we do have like a black smoke thing. Saturation, color. Again, we have black, so that's not going to do too much. Let me show you. Let's see if we can get another color here. Yeah, you can see that's not really, that's just showing the color on the other layer rather than some of the texturing on it. Looks pretty cool though. Alright. There's also a dodge and burn on this. So you see these ones here are kind of like the normal-esque ones. Like say you just want normal, or you want everything on here to be erased. You just want it to merge into the layer. And then these down here in this bracket are to lighten. These over here are to darken. These over here are overlay type, so you can have like different kinds of overlays. And then I believe these are kind of erasing ones down here. These are to give a certain kind of color, and then these are to... Not really sure what these are from down here. But again, like you can play around with them on your own, and definitely like just play with them until you know what kind of effects that each one can give off. See, lightning, dodging, darkening, burning. Wow, that's a lot. But yeah, there's so many different types. And I would just encourage you to just play around with it on your own time and do whatever you like with it. Because these things are really neat. These things are really, really useful. Another thing I would like to talk to you guys about is color profiles. You might not know what a color profile is, and this might not matter to you literally at all, but if you are planning to use GIMP to send to like a printer or print your own stuff, there is something you ought to know about GIMP, and that is that GIMP only uses an RGB color profile. That's a little bit different from some of the other image editors you're going to get, because usually image editors have the ability to put your color profile into a CMYK. Now the difference between the two is that RGB is used for digital stuff and CMYK is used for printing. Now that might seem like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, but to put it into simpler terms, it means that the stuff that you see on screen, when you print it out, it might look like it's a different color, like actually on the shirt, because you have to switch up the color profile that you're using. So I'll give you an example here. Let's see. And I'm also going to show you guys how to switch your color profile up. You can't actually do that on GIMP. There might be a way for you to do that on GIMP, but if there is a way for you to do that on GIMP, I have not been able to discover it, and I clicked the wrong one. I'm gonna go over here to this tab, and we're going to see if I save that. Here it is. I found this website here that's just an RGB to CMYK color profile. So if you would ever need to like change something like this to something that you would want printed, the way you can really preview it is to go on here, select your photo. You just uploaded the file to this website here. I'll link it down in the description. And I want the output format to be in JPEG. You can select CMYK profile. I'm just going to use the default one that they have on here. And we can go ahead and start. And this is just going to take the photo that I just used and turned it into a CMYK. And it's also going to compare the two, which is really great. Just give it a minute. Okay, so this is the RGB and this is the CMYK. You notice that the green over here is a little bit brighter. The black looks about the same because it's black. The highlights on it are a little bit darker. The gray on here almost looks a little bit bluer. And the skin tone looks just a little bit greener, almost. But the difference isn't huge. Like, it's definitely acceptable, but it also is a good idea to just, like, preview it before you print it, because that's what they're going to use. But that is a tool. So the images that you process in GIMP can be turned to CMYK, but you can't do that in GIMP. GIMP does not accept CMYK color profiles. My gosh. I've tried to get it to work with them, and so far I have not discovered a way. If any of you guys know a way, leave it down in the comments, because I would really like to know a way that I can convert color profiles on GIMP to CMYK, because that is kind of a shortcoming of the software. But again, That might have been important to you, that might not have been important to you, but there it is. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I want to do more art videos in the future, and definitely more GIMP videos in the future, so if there's a subject that you want me to talk about, definitely tell me, and I will try my best to accommodate you. I'll see you guys later. Bye.